Oftentimes we sing the song Sleep in Heavenly Peace, which is a part of Silent Night. And, it sounds good. Sleep in heavenly peace. And I just kind of took that for granted until I learned about this organization that helps kids sleep in heavenly peace, not realizing personally that all kids don't necessarily sleep in heavenly peace because they ain't got nothing to sleep in.
That's right.
They don't have beds. So when I was informed that there's this organization that in fact tries to help kids, serves as a vehicle for them to sleep in heavenly peace by providing beds, then I, of course, became very moved and interested. And strangely enough, or interestingly enough, or remarkably enough, that's the name of the organization. Isn't that right, Tumaini?
That's right.
Yeah, Sleep in Heavenly Peace. So, I know it would not be robbery if, in fact, we would have a conversation. It's such a beautiful gesture. And I'm telling you, I was just taken aback and just had never really thought about the fact that there are kids in our community who sleep at night, but not in beds. So the mission of the purpose of this organization is to provide bed for kids who don't have beds to sleep in. And as I stated, the name of the organization is Sleep in Heavenly Peace. So I have with me today on a call to action. I'm your host, Alex Habersham, Miss Tumaini
Hello.
Cornett. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah,
Tumaini
we talked
Cornett.
about that name. So I like the way it wrote. Tumaini Cornett, who is associated with the organization, and so people, there are kids in the community that don't have beds.
That is correct. And first, thank you so much, Mr. Habersham, for having us on today. My name's Tumaini Cornett, as you said, and I'm the Community Outreach Liaison for Sleep in Heavenly Peace, the Macon chapter. And currently, we have 960 children on our wait list.
Wow.
Waiting for a bed. So, yes, we don't often think about it, just as you said in your intro, that someone might be without a bed or bedlessness. That's not really a word, but it is an issue in our community. And we estimate that about 3% of children between the ages of 3 and 17 do not sleep in a bed. They may, a bed of their own. They may sleep on a pallet. They may sleep with parents. They may sleep with a sibling, or they may not sleep in a bed at all. We had one 17-year-old who was sleeping in a chair. Some kids are sleeping on sofas. So we just take it for granted that everyone has a bed and everyone does not. And it affects their performance in school. It affects them physically. It affects them emotionally on so many levels, and their ability to perform.
Wow, well, you would know because you are an educator and a librarian. So I know that you know, and thank you for, let me tell you something. Let me do an aside right here. People tell people who've been in the military, thank you for serving. Guess what? I tell teachers and educators the same thing.
Thank you.
Because they are actually serving and they are providing a service that's so important to our community and so important to our young people. So this is part of a national organization, and this is like the Macon chapter.
Yes. So Sleep in Heavenly Peace was actually founded back in 2012 by a gentleman by the name of Luke Mickelson in Idaho. And it started off because he had a group of young men that he was working with on a service project at his church. And he was trying to think of something to keep them engaged that did not have to do with technology. And he got word of a little girl in their community that didn't have a bed. And
Wow.
so he got these group of young men together in his garage and they built a bed. And that's kind of how he became aware of the issue and how this organization was founded. So fast forward to 2018, Mr. Mickelson was featured on Mike Rowe's program, Returning the Favor, on season 2. And at that time, the organization had grown and they were working out of a warehouse, but the warehouse didn't have any plumbing. 100% volunteer. People would get together there. They would get corporate sponsors who would donate wood and things like that, and they would build the beds and deliver them. Fast forward to a year ago, we found out about it in Macon through a friend who had volunteered with a friend of his in Illinois at a chapter of Sleep in Heavenly Peace. And he was so moved by what they were doing that he brought the idea back here to Macon, and we formed our chapter a year ago in June. Wow. So we've only been around a year ago in June, and to have 960 people still on our wait list, that's pretty profound. And I will tell you that when we opened up the Macon chapter, we had 200 requests that had already been sitting there, but because there was no Macon chapter, there was no one to answer that call.
Wow. Well, that's absolutely phenomenal. So how, I mean, wow. So how did this happen? How the bed's made? What does it take to qualify to get a bed? How you determine who really needs a bed? What's that? It's such an interesting process. And again, I am really moved, because I love kids, and I understand watch me, how we are shaping their lives, how their lives are shaped at an early age. And although it's something that we take for granted, but a bed to sleep in, come on now. So just what's that process and how they made?
So we have corporate sponsors, such as Lowe's. Lowe's is one of our major corporate sponsors. They sell us the wood at cost. Window World is a corporate sponsor. They have bought advertisement for us. They've donated wood. And in fact, the local Window World company in the Macon area, they actually sponsored us to appear at sporting events so that we can have an ad and get the word out about Sleep in Heavenly Peace. We're a 100% volunteer organization. So everyone that's a part of our core team works full time, and this is something that we do on the side. So it's very important that we have corporate sponsors, because those sponsorships is what allows us to purchase the wood that we use to make the beds. So our core team not only makes the beds, we put together the events, and about once a month, we call in volunteers. We call out to the community for volunteers, and people show up wherever that location is. The last location we did a volunteer event that was open to the community was at the Bloomfield Library, and we had volunteers from Atrium Navicent. We had the AKAs from Mercer. We had just volunteers that heard about us randomly from Middle Georgia State, students and faculty. Anyone can come, show up and volunteer. And that's when people come and help us cut the wood, sand the wood, drill holes in the wood. And then we take those pieces and families can go online and apply. So if you know a family that needs a bed, they simply need to go onto our website and complete the application to sign up for a bed. But that's how we that's how we find out who needs the bed. We build them, and then we are required to deliver them. So we don't make the beds and you can come and pick them up. For liability purposes, we deliver and assemble the beds because our team has been trained to do that. We deliver and assemble the beds in the home, and a parent or guardian must be present.
Okay. So what about the mattress? I mean,
So when I say we deliver a bed, it's the whole package.
right.
All of our beds are twin beds, and we can either put together a single bed or a bunk bed based on the parent's request. And that bed comes with a brand new mattress and all new single bedding. So we leave them with a pillow, a comforter, a flat sheet, a fitted sheet, and pillowcases and a sham.
Wow. So when you say the volunteers, so when they volunteer, they actually doing the labor, they doing what is necessary to put
Right.
the bed together. At this moment, there's a need for 975 beds.
Yes, sir. And
At
that
this
number
moment.
is growing. We at this moment right now, actually, we have a team out delivering beds to a family in need. The last team that went out, one of our parents who was receiving beds went live on her social media. And while she was live on her social media, we had 25 requests come in for beds. So this is a real need in our community.
Is there kind of like a vetting process?
So we do ask that parents go online to our website, and let me give that to you. It's shpbeds.org/apply. You must fill out the complete application, and then we will have one of our core team members contact you. They'll ask some questions, find out what the need is, what the age of the children are, if you're in the Macon zip codes, because we only service the Macon area. So we have had requests come in from Warner Robins, Centerville. We do not service those areas. We only service Macon. So they will ask you some questions. They'll ask you about the children, and then we'll go from there as far as the vetting process. And then we will come out to your address and make the delivery.
If people in Warner Robins or other places want to start their own chapter, you know, if somebody's looking for something to make a difference or something that's going to really be measurable and beneficial to the community, then they could start their own chapter. I
That is
assume,
absolutely
to,
correct.
just like you all did.
Yes, sir. And we have been very fortunate when we started our chapter. The Columbus chapter of Sleep in Heavenly Peace partnered with us to help us do our first bill. So what that means is they came out, they shared with us how they set up their tools. The company or the organization, Sleep in Heavenly Peace, does send you a template. Our presidents went to Utah and actually did a seminar where they learned how the company operates, but it was very helpful to have a local group come out and come alongside us and show us, hey, this is how we do it. This is how we set up our tools. This is how we store them. This is how we make the beds, and kind of step us through that. So we are always willing to partner. If there's someone in the Perry area, Warner Robins, Centerville, that wants to start a Sleep in Heavenly Peace chapter, please reach out to us, because there is a need in your community. And one of the organizations we were very fortunate to work with was the Young Servicemen's League from Perry, Georgia. They came down to Macon and delivered beds and helped us build beds. And one of their students asked, well, why can't we have this in our own community? And the answer to that is you can. We need more chapters.
Now let's walk mechanically through the whole process. The wood is donated.
Yes.
You got volunteers who come in and help to cut it and sand it and do everything according to a diagram or a model.
Right.
Because when you take it to the house, you fit it together, you put it together, and you got the mattress and everything. What would it take to fulfill, that need for 900 beds?
So each bed, and I'm talking in terms of the wood, the mattress, the full bedding set, all of those things brand new, cost us anywhere from $250 to $275. So if you multiply that amount by 960, that's what we're looking at as far as dollar amount. We've been very fortunate to have sponsors, large sponsors like Georgia Power, who every year sponsors an annual event. The event where we were included was a clay shoot. And as a result of that, Sleep in Heavenly Peace and another organization both received checks for $25,000.
Wow.
And that's what helped launch us and made it possible for us to purchase wood, and then go on alongside with that and also purchase bedding so that we were able to make our initial deliveries. So far this year, we've been able to deliver 419 beds, and our goal is to reach 500 by the end of the year. So by December, we expect to hit that goal.
What if a person, you prick the conscientiousness or hit a soft spot in their heart? Two questions. What if they want to just say, well, hey, I'm just going to sponsor a bed for a child? Then they could just donate the $275 or $300, and then that will take care of that process. Can you do this kind of volume? I mean, do you have the capability? Is it doable?
Well, it's funny that you said no child, because that's actually our slogan. It's simply that no child sleeps on the floor in our town. And yes, it is doable. We've seen it done. When we got together with Wendell World, in one day, with the number of volunteers that we had, on that day, we built 50 beds. When we got together at the Bloomfield Community Center, on that day, I believe we built 40 beds. So when we have enough hands on deck and we have enough people coming together, yes, it's possible to have that volume. And that's why the organization piece is so important. When volunteers come out, they see everything already set up. And the role of our core team is to arrive early, make sure all the equipment is in place, make sure that the wood is stacked. We go in sometimes before an event and go ahead and cut things and get them pre-cut so that when our volunteers come in, they can do the next step, which allows us to take those pieces and get them ready so that we can get them delivered out during the week on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Well, let me ask you this. Is there any room for additional volunteers? And if it is, what's the process? I mean, you got a lot of organizations really in the community who are looking for things to do, particularly, things that make a difference. How does one volunteer, and do you need more volunteers?
We always need more volunteers. So I'm going to give you a couple of options. So if you are a corporation and you are looking for a unique team building opportunity that gives back to the community, Amazon actually partnered with us, and we took a group of their managers out to deliver beds with us because that just makes sense because Amazon delivers, right? So even though they didn't come on board to build the beds, they did actually get a chance to see what the process is like to put everything together and deliver it to a child and put the bed in place. So there are ways that you can come alongside us as a corporate sponsor. Maybe that's just writing a check, which that goes a long way because it costs money to purchase the wood. It costs money to purchase bedding. Perhaps you are a church group that wants to do something to come alongside us. We actually have a bunk bed that we deliver to organizations, and we ask them to fill the bed. So one way that a church organization might help us or a nonprofit might help if you aren't able to write a check is to maybe have that bunk bed at your office building or at your church building or at your VFW, and ask your members to donate twin size bed in a bag or twin size bedding that we can use when we go out to make deliveries to children. If you are an individual and you're just looking for volunteer opportunities, we have students show up all the time from our local high schools for volunteer hours. Just go on our website at shpbeds.org, and there's an opportunity to volunteer there. You will see what events we have coming up. you can volunteer and come out and help us build, or you can actually join us on a delivery on Tuesday or Thursday, a few times a week each month. And we usually host a bill once a month. So those are ways that you can volunteer as a group, donate as a group, volunteer as an individual, or donate as an individual.
Wow, that is so exciting, and I bet you've got a lot of success stories.
And one of the things we talk about, Mr. Habersham, is, kids will ask for a lot of things. They'll ask for the latest technology. They'll ask for the newest gym shoes
Yeah,
or clothing or things like that. But most kids don't think to ask for a bed,
yeah,
and most people don't think about where a child might be sleeping before they show up at school. We may chalk it up to them as educators that they're not paying attention in class, or they always have their head down. But we had one mom tell us that she hadn't slept by herself in 4 years until we arrived with the beds that we brought. It was the first time for her and her kids that they would each sleep in their own space.
wow.
So it just makes you think a little bit harder about the things that sometimes we take for granted.
No doubt. No doubt. Because I mean, just I didn't have the clue and hadn't really thought about it. Well, I'm hoping and praying that as a result of this exposure, that, this whole thing just mushrooms. Because I'm sure that, and then and then there may be some kids that we suspect.
Yes.
I mean, you don't know everybody, because a lot of people may be too embarrassed or too ashamed to publicly, state that, hey, my kid is sleeping on the floor, or, 4 or 5 of us are sleeping in the same bed. And
Right.
then, I mean, I don't think it's healthy, really, frankly, to not separate kids, particularly kids of different genders. I'm going to just call a spade a spade. And
Yes,
then
sir.
you need to have beds for the boys and beds for the girls, and when possible, I mean, you need to have rooms too, but at least, there should be separate beds for them. And, I mean, and I like the fact that they are bunk beds, because then that means that there's some privacy involved. And that's a good feeling, to be able to get in your bed and sleep by yourself and don't have to worry about, being crowded in the bed or anything of that nature. So I just think it's absolutely phenomenal. So why don't you give the phone number and the website again, if there is a phone number, or even the email or what have you, for people to contact? Because what we're trying to do here, if you know of a kid, who needs a bed, then you can call. If you know of an organization that looking for community projects or what have you, then they can volunteer. If in fact this is the end of the year and you want to do something good for somebody, it's deductible, right?
Yes, it is
Yeah,
tax deductible,
yeah,
just like any donation. Yes,
yeah.
sir.
If you want to do something good for somebody, just, hey, cut a check for $300, and then she's gonna give you how to send the money. You can tell them now.
So as I said, we are, or I may not have mentioned it, but we are a 501c3. So we are a nonprofit. Any donations that are made go directly towards what our purpose is, and that's to making sure that no kid sleeps on the floor in our town. We don't spend any money on advertising. All of our advertisement has been through word of mouth or donations by our corporate sponsors, or just through various individuals. So everything you need is on our website. If you want to volunteer, shpbeds.org, and you're going to go to the Macon chapter. Okay. If you want to donate, same thing, shp.org. We don't have a direct phone number, but if you reach out to us on that website, contact us if you would like to have our rolling bunk bed in your church lobby to do a bedding drive. We would appreciate that. We're always in need of more full bedding sets for twin beds for children between the ages of 3 and 17. We're serving all of them. So whatever you want to donate or bring for a bedding drive is always welcome. Or if you as an individual would like to make a donation, again, shpbeds.org and then /Macon is where you want to go.
Let me ask you a quick question before we get out of here.
Yes, sir.
How can one find, suppose somebody just said, well, and then we need to talk a little bit before we go about, we need to let these organizations know that they can have a bunk bed on display at their facility and then do a bed and drive there. And then the members or friends or visitors or neighbors can bring products, what have you.
Yes,
so
sir.
what if somebody says, well, I tell you what I want to do. I want to furnish, for want of the right word for this, 2 bunk beds or 1 bunk bed. Mm-hmm. Should they bring the product? Can they bring the product? The mattress, the fittings, the pillow, what have you, or should they just donate? Suppose they want to buy it themselves. Are there options as it relates to what they can do to make sure that the kid gets it?
Yes. So we don't take donations of mattresses. And the reason that we don't do that is for liability, because we want to make sure the mattresses are brand new and that we know where they're coming from. Right. So we have accepted mattresses from one of our corporate sponsors, which was Ashley Home Furnishings. Okay. But they donated mattresses to us that are in the plastic covering. So we purchase our mattresses with the donations that are given to us. However, if someone wants to make a donation with using funds and then bring a twin bed in a bag, that's definitely an option. But we do supply the mattresses and then all the wood and the wood parts and everything, those items that we make for the bed.
The best thing to do is just cut a check.
That's a great thing to do. Yes, sir. And we are very transparent about where our money goes. As I said, we don't use anything. None of us are paid. We are all either retired or we have our own full-time jobs. All of our money goes towards any tools that we need to do the job, which for the most part we have now, and then wood and bedding.
This is a call to action. I'm your host, Alex Habersham, having interviewed Mrs. Tumaini Cornett of Sleep in Heavenly Peace Bedding. And then I'm going to use that word that she coined, bedlessness. And we're trying to get rid of bedlessness, in Central Georgia. And you can support it, and we will stroll the information across the screen and show you some video. And, let's just take this on.
We want to make sure that no kid sleeps on the floor in our town.
Yes, ma'am. That's absolutely right. This is a call to action. I'm your host, Alex C. Habersham. Have a great day.
www.makingblackpages.com